You're still watching the Afia Business Morning. Welcome to Global Business, where we take a look at business news stories around the continent of Africa and indeed the rest of the world. My name is Ubong Kings. Here are the headlines making the rounds. We're starting off in Africa, where it's reported that Africa's poorest countries had to be boosted by digitalization. Away from that and moving outside Africa now, Aer Lingus resumes flight as strikes over pay ends. And so from the foreign scene, Tiger Global to take charge of Revolt's share sale. We'll bring you details of these news stories and more right after this break. Please stay. You're watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning, and we begin from Africa, where it's reported that the World Bank has stated that digitalization could improve the fiscal policy and the quality of public administration, including the fortunes of the private sector in some of Africa's poorest countries. The annual Country Policy and Institutional Assessment (CPIA) report, which rates International Development Association (IDA) eligible countries on their policies and institutional arrangements, said that high-speed internet in sub-Saharan African countries increases the probability of employment by between 6.9 and 13.2%, as well as increasing the growth of output per worker and reducing poverty. Furthermore, the report states that digital technology could boost job creation through a variety of channels, including matching firms to workers, enabling productivity-enhancing activities, improving market access and sales, and reducing informational frictions. Now, this story, to me, if you ask me, bears a number of concerns. First will be the paragraph that says, let me read that out, that the World Bank is of the opinion that digitalization could improve the fiscal policy and the quality of public administration, including the fortunes of private sector in some of Africa's poorest countries. Now, the truth be told, and that's the fact that most African countries know this reality, but would rather not do it. Do you know why? I'll tell you. It will pretty much expose corruption in government and financial institutions. That's the truth, because this is as opined by a guest I played host to on the Eastern Business Report earlier this week, and the person of Vindicated Chidi, who actually took our time to say quite a number of things with reference to digitalization in the financial industry. Let's take a listen, and we'll be back. Please stay.
Sometimes you go to the banks and there is error. Maybe you are trying to transfer money and there is network, and the bank will think that they didn't see your money. Even we have heard stories that you might keep your money in the bank and travel and stay like 5 years. When you come back, they'll tell you that the account is no longer existing. These are the corruptions that happen in the financial system. The banks are in control. Right. You take your money to the bank will keep custody of it. Actually, any money that you give to somebody to hold for you is no longer your money. I hope you're aware. Yeah. You have given power to that person, so the person can actually tell you what to do and when not to do. Trying to bring a technology that will kind of cause a financial revolution. Right. Because no government of the world will want to have that in their system. Because what happens is that if you adopt it wholeheartedly, it means that the government will no longer have the powers to do the things that they ought to do. Because now money is in the hands of the citizens. They have the freedom over their own money. Actually, it is not coming to harm the government or the traditional financial system. Right? Rather, it helps to make it more transparent. When you adopt blockchain technology, it will take away corruption instantly, because there is no way you can manipulate the figures. There is no way you will do anything, because everything is there for.
That was Vindicated Chidi talking about the possibility of advanced digitalization in the financial sector. You may want to share your thoughts on this, and soon we'll give out avenues to be able to discuss this with us on the program. But then we're moving on to other business news stories from the world of aerospace, where it's reported that Irish Airline, Aer Lingus, after the cancellation of 610 flights in 3 weeks, has resumed its flight schedule after worker strikes over pay have come to an end. Meanwhile, some 573 of the cancellations were pre-planned, and then 37 more flights were cancelled last minute during the strike action. The pilots began their industrial action on the 26th of June, demanding a 24% pay increase as compensation for inflation and for the cuts that happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, on the 29th of June, the Irish Airline Pilots Association members actually participated in an 8-hour strike. However, the pilots' union called off its industrial action last week, ending the dispute. Although it was suspended, Aer Lingus has already pre-cancelled flights until 2 days ago. Well, there are key things I want to point out in this particular story, and one is the fact that the pilots began this industrial action, so to speak, on the 26th of June, and the demand was simple: a 24% pay increase as compensation for inflation and for, of course, the cut that happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, listen to this. This is the part that interests me. Now, the truth of the matter is the government at the center there in Ireland did not bully them into a corner, saying that their industrial action that they embarked upon was tantamount to economic sabotage. Yet in other climes, such as Nigeria's recently, as a matter of fact, last month precisely, organized labor actually had to come out and dismiss claims by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio that its recent nationwide strike amounted to economic sabotage, and saying that the true economic sabotage are those looting national resources and not the labor force. Now, how different is it? I mean, is what Labour did in Nigeria compared to what this airline did in Ireland? Think about it. I rest my case. I'll take a short break, and you're still watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning on Afia TV. You may want to join in on any of these conversations you deem fit, and more, of course, on our new Afia Business YouTube channel. You may want to kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/@Afia Business. So while you're there, do well to hit the like button and subscribe button so you get notified on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. Up next will be more business news stories from the rest of the world right after this break. Stay tuned. You're welcome back to the Afia Business Morning right here on Afia TV, and you're still watching Global Business. Now to the rest of our stories, and this time we're moving away swiftly to the world of Fintech, where it's reported that tech investing in giant Tiger Global Management is in line to take charge of a new share deal at Revolt, which is expected to happen later this year. It needs to be worth about $500 million, with a number of other parties also interested in buying more Revolt shares. The particular share deal is expected to be a secondary offering, with current employees selling some of the shares they own instead of the company issuing new shares. Revolt's first funding round back in 2021 was also jointly led by Tiger Global and was worth $800 million. However, SoftBank, which had worked on the primary funding round in 2021, will not be part of the secondary share deal. Now, let's look at something critical here and intriguing to me, really. And the thing that stands out for me here is, apart from the obvious new share deal with at Revolt, there is this one thing in particular. The fact there is that there's expected to be a secondary offering. And now the intriguing part is where you're going to be having current employees, underline that, current employees selling some of their shares instead of the company issuing new shares. Now, the case in point is that employees are actually shareholders for the company they work for. Get the point? I rest my case. Moving on. Other stories making the rounds right here, and in an attempt to end this bulletin, Let's bring in this report that one of Germany's busiest railways, where more than 300 trains per day rely, is set to close, so to speak, for 5 months as the country works towards fixing its notorious disruption-prone network. Meanwhile, buses will replace all regional trains throughout the closure, while long-distance trips will be available through slower routes. However, the 1.3 billion euro plan is part of a broader project aimed at modernizing 40 railway routes by 2030, where the state-owned railway operator Josh Bahn aims to improve reliability in a network that has come in for criticism recently while Germany was hosting the European Football Championships. Now, let's look at something here in this particular story. Something jumps out of this for me. It's the part where it says a time frame of 5 months is required. 5 months? Now, as reported by this story, it has it that one of Germany's biggest, so to speak, busiest rather, railways, where more than approximately 300 trains per day rely, is set to close for 5 months. Why? The country is working towards fixing the notorious disruption-prone network. Now, the good part is that it is intended to make better the rail system. The other good part is the fact that monies have been earmarked for it, and 1.3 billion euros actually is being earmarked for this, but it's also for a broader project which will extend through to 2030. Now let's look at this. This reminds me of something, really. It reminds me of a question I like to ask. The question really is, where exactly, and rather, rephrase that, how functional is the railway system in Nigeria? Think about it. How functional is it? Security-wise and availability. Availability in the sense of, does it span the whole country? Do regional blocks have functional railway system? You know, I was playing host to a certain guest as yesterday on the Eastern Business Report, where he said something that rather than have this proliferation of airports in the southeast, why can't the southeast as a regional block work out railway system that traverses the length and breadth and width, height if you like, of the southeast? Isn't that something that would be more viable, considering the fact that if you're moving from Enugu to Abakaliki, for instance, it's just about 45 minutes drive, right? And then you have an airport already in Enugu and another airport in what's it called, in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. The proximity is very close. Now, what will happen if we had, because of course you can't fly, you get the point? You can't. So what will happen if we now decide to have functional railway systems in the southeast? Now, I know there are issues. So there's issue about poor funding, huge operating losses, inadequate locomotive and roller stock, loss of patronage to the road transport sector, and weak political commitment. And that is the part I want to emphasize. Weak political commitment. And these are the things that pretty much causing all these issues here. And if we have a functional, so to speak, functional and available rail system, I'm sure a lot of things would have been taken care of just by that. I say no more, and you may want to get to our new Afia Business YouTube channel and share your thoughts on any of the stories that we've just shared with you right here. You may want to kindly type in the search bar www.youtube.com/@Afia Business. And while you're there, do well to hit the like button and subscribe for notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning Live right here on Afia TV. Coming up next will be a conversation on skill up and skill acquisition in Enugu, updates, prospects, challenges, etc. The Afia Business Morning will be right back. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned.